And we are
We are
live.
live. All right. So, hello and welcome to our Cardboard Conversations. With us today, we have Broseph CCG, and we're going to talk about WhatNot and sorcery. So, welcome, Broseph.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. We are really excited. I've been popping into some of the WhatNot streams, and I finally persuaded someone, and that poor guy was you, to actually come and join us and talk a bit about WhatNot and your whole streaming community on there. So we're super excited to talk about it today. I'm just gonna say hi to everybody in chat. Hello, Chris, Moose, Rage Cody. Awesome. So first up, we usually just let our guests introduce themselves. So can you just, briefly state your name and your interest and a bit about your TCG background?
Sure. Absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me on. My company name is Broseph CCG, but my first name is Adam. I've first started playing Magic the Gathering back in, I want to say when I was in 4th grade. But prior to that, I also dabbled in a little bit of like Pokemon as a kid, also Yu-Gi-Oh! But what really attracted to Magic the first time I ever saw it was the art. I thought the art was fantastic. The first set that the first sealed product I ever bought was at Target. I bought a Invasion tournament deck. I don't know if you guys remember those. Those were 75 cards in there. I've been meaning to buy one just to put on display, but I played a little bit in middle school, and then I sort of fell out of TCGs when I got into high school and into college. It really wasn't until 2020 where my interest in TCGs kind of was revitalized, and I started watching content creators like Alpha Investments, and I just decided to get back into Magic. And from getting back into Magic, I discovered WhatNot, and then also through Rudy, I discovered sorcery. So basically, that's in a nutshell. That's kind of my history with TCGs.
All right. So the classical story about starting with MTG and then falling out of it for a while and coming back. So how did you learn about sorcery through Rudy, and what was it about sorcery that made you think that sounds like a cool TCG?
I can't remember exactly like what video it was, but it was either Rudy or it was Tulare Community College, and it might have been Tulare Community College, but I know both of them had talked about it. And I decided to kind of do my own research. And I went onto Sorcery TCG's website, and I was just blown away by the art. Everybody uses the word nostalgia. That's really what I felt when I first saw the artwork of the cards, and I knew that it was something that I wanted to be involved in without knowing anything else. I didn't even know it was like a grid system game. I just saw the art and I'm like, wow, this is something I really want to be a part of, and it's something I really want to learn more about. So, yeah.
So did you catch it at the Kickstarter? So you had time to play it, or just
after?
No.
So unfortunately, I wasn't one of the lucky ones that was able to get on the Kickstarter. I discovered it, and I kind of like forgot about it because I was kind of like tied up with Magic and really focused on that. It wasn't until Alpha was already shipped to the people that supported the game, and once I actually started seeing box openings, and there was some appearances that people were selling like Alpha packs on WhatNot, is really when I decided, hey, I'm gonna jump in on beta. Like, it's far more affordable, and I can just buy a case or two to start off with.
Cool.
Yeah. But speaking of WhatNot, could you tell us a little about what that platform is and what it is you do on WhatNot?
Yeah. So WhatNot is a online auction platform that kind of focuses on collectibles. So I got my start with Magic the Gathering. That was kind of in November, December of 2022. I started buying. I remember my very first stream. I had sealed boxes of Modern Horizons 1 and Modern Horizons 2. And then I had set boosters of like Midnight Hunt, Zendikar Rising, Caldime and Brothers War. And I remember just selling packs. That's all I did. I sold packs. And in the span of like 5 hours, I sold like $700 worth of stuff. And I just thought that was so cool because I had never done anything like that before. I never, like I have my background is in sales, and I've worked for automation companies and material handling equipment and stuff like that. But I had never like done a live auction and like sold stuff and got to like, show people what they're pulling out of their packs and stuff like that. So that experience was just a lot of fun for me. So you're on camera, you're showing off the hits for the buyer, and that's just an awesome experience. And it having an audience makes it, it makes it a lot of fun too. I see a lot of comments sometimes like on the internet saying like I don't understand why, people are excited if somebody else opens your pack. I mean, like, I want to open my own packs, which I totally understand. Like, being able to open up your own cards in the comfort of your own home or around other friends is cool. But, to actually be in front of like 50 people and pull a really cool card and then have all the hype from chat, congratulate you and stuff like that. It just, the energy levels are so much higher on WhatNot when you're engaged in that kind of content. So, it's just been a blast.
Yeah. So the next question, I think we're just gonna jump into this one here from Rage Cody. Why are there so many degens on WhatNot? Who's your favorite?
So you're all my favorite, but it is true. It is true that there are people that engage in degenerate activity, and WhatNot has gone through some changes in the last couple of years since I've started doing this. People come into the space and they can see the opportunities to make a lot of money, and they also see opportunity to try to scam buyers out of cards or money or whatever. Obviously, I wouldn't be around today if I operated in that capacity. But we used to do there used to be like what's called bounties on WhatNot. And so a bounty is like, to equate it to sorcery, it's like, hey, if you hit a foil philosopher stone in a pack, you win a case of beta booster boxes. Like that's the bounty. So typically you'd have like a premium on pack prices, because if you hit it, it kind of offsets the cost for the seller to award, a whole case of beta. But that's kind of like the general idea. So there's no longer bounties on WhatNot because I'm not really going to get into it, but it started with a Pokemon streamer that kind of really agitated that whole thing, and it's just not allowed anymore. But a lot of people, they just, a lot of my buyers, if I had to guess, they have more they have a lot of disposable income. They're in their, late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. They're well established in their careers, and they just love being able to come into chat, buy some sorcery cards, and have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole question about who's your favorite, are we just gonna dodge it, or are we gonna give like a political answer on that one?
Like I said, everybody that engages in my community, in our Discord, and everybody's awesome. Everybody's awesome in their own unique way.
I like that answer. Let's keep it to that.
The diplomatic answer.
Exactly.
But I kind of get it, that at one point when you are in that age bracket that you mentioned, you might not have that many friends that are into the same TCGs and hobbies that you are. And, being able to share that passion with people online is a great feeling. So even though many people are like, why would you buy other people to open stuff? Having this community and sharing an experience that means something.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
That's really a big thing, because, before I got into sorcery, even when I was playing Magic as a kid and getting into Magic later in life again, I was never going to like tournaments. I never really went to an LGS and sat down at the table and played Commander with people. A lot of the friends that I've formed over the last couple of years have all come from WhatNot. And it's just and now actually just from Sorcery, people that were never involved with WhatNot, I've met through these events, through these, like I was mentioning it before the show started. I went to West Virginia. I competed in a Courtesan Cup qualifier at Game Grove. Shout out to Kitchen Table TCG. And then I went to Midland Mayhem. That was all the way in St. Louis. And then I went to Baltimore for the Courtesan Cup. And being able to meet the other people that are on WhatNot, that are involved, not just in Sorcery, but also Magic, because some of them came from Magic. It's been awesome. I've developed real friendships with these people. And going to these events, like, it's like there's a bit of a high to it, because this is I don't want the weekend to end. I'm having so much fun. I'm surrounded by a bunch of people that are super generous, and we're all enjoying something that we love together.
Absolutely. But it also seems like there's a community actually also on WhatNot. I've been jumping in from time to time on some different streams just to sort of get a feel for the community on WhatNot. And it does seem like there's a lot of people also, just like the other streamers, jumping into each other's chats and hanging out and everything. So what's your experience of the community, Sorcery community on WhatNot?
Well, it's been great because I've kind of encouraged people to grow. I want there to be more sellers and more buyers on WhatNot. I want there to be a larger reach, and I also want there to be an official category for Sorcery Contested Realm to be on WhatNot, because right now Sorcery does not have its own category, and that is something that I'm really pushing for. I have messaged WhatNot directly about that. I typically get generic responses back, but that's okay. I'm hoping that for Arthurian Legends, what I would like to see happen is for Arthurian Legends, there's going to be maybe a special event where they shout out on their Discord or their other social profiles that, hey, we're going to make Sorcery its own category. But just engaging with everybody has been fun. I love being able to just kind of go from stream to stream and sit and watch other sellers being able to rip product for other buyers, and it's crazy. It's just crazy how far we've come, and I just want this space to continue to grow.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
When we go to Sorcery Con, there is people from WhatNot that I'm going to meet up with, and we're going to try to bring more people. Just try to show them what WhatNot is, because people always talk about how there isn't product available. Well, I can tell you, there's somebody always selling Sorcery on WhatNot at some hour of the day. So I encourage you guys to at least give it a shot. Sign up. You don't have to buy anything, but at least kind of visit some of these other sellers. It's in the Kickstarter category, so you won't find Sorcery as its own category. But if you find the Kickstarter category and kind of just look around a little bit, you'll usually find somebody selling Sorcery in the middle of the day, at least in the US.
Yeah, and I would say that I find often on weekends, early morning for Europe and late evening for Europe seems to correspond pretty nicely with the most of you guys streaming. And I've had a lot of fun also just hanging out and just talking Sorcery and going back and forth. And there's a real community there as well. So I definitely would encourage people to just go check out the app and come hang out in a couple of streams and maybe even get a pack if you're wanting some beta packs still.
Indeed, you have some cozy times.
Yes.
Sometimes just try to sneak into a little stream. And then the streamer's like, Sophie! I was like, they caught me.
Exactly. So, we have a question here from the live chat, and please do feel free to ask some questions and also do smash that like button. We would really appreciate it. When the market dries out a bit of boxes, do you recognize an increase on people buying on your channel or generally on WhatNot? So with the drying of boxes at LGSs, did you see a surge in buys on WhatNot?
Yeah, so typically the price it's fluctuated quite a bit since the release of it coming out through Team Covenant, and then the boxes were announced that they were out of print, and then now things are kind of starting to come back down because there's been reprinting. So there's been I think when Sorcery first came out, like when Alpha was still being sold, it's still being sold, but not as much anymore.
Yeah.
When beta first hit, it was crazy. There was a ton of people buying. A lot of people that didn't know anything about sorcery, they kind of wanted to get on that hype, and there was a lot of new faces had entered that category. When it was announced that it was out of print and it's been a little bit harder to get, the price of our boxes did go up, but we've always been very vigilant in trying to get as much product as we can, and that's why I encourage there to be more sellers on WhatNot, because the more boxes, the more product that we can bring to WhatNot, the more that we can enjoy with the experience. I can tell you right now, as far as like the pricing of what we sell boxes for in packs on WhatNot, they are generally going to be a little bit higher than what you can find like on TCG Player or maybe even your local game store. And the primary reason for that is because of the fees. So please keep in mind that, you know, a lot of us, we do this as a side hustle. So, you know, we also buy top loaders, team bags, penny sleeves, you know, everything that you would typically get from, you know, an order off of TCG Player. We package everything up and we try to ship as quickly as possible. At least I do. And I try to make sure that everything is nice and neat so that nothing comes to you damaged. But yeah, I would say that there has certainly been it's kind of coming down a bit as far as I think everybody's just really ready now for Arthurian Legends to come out. I still think beta is going to continue to sell very well, and I think even after Arthurian Legends, there's still going to be a strong demand for beta boxes, just because I think there's going to be cards in beta that haven't seen a whole lot of play are now going to see a lot more play because of the, you know, the combos that you can do with some of the cards in Arthurian Legends, hopefully. So
yes, hopefully. But
I believe that too.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to happen. There was just a quick comment that the shipping is difficult, but again, that's also a general encouragement to perhaps consider getting started with WhatNot stream in Canada or in Europe, because shipping from the US is, of course, in general, pretty expensive.
it is.
But again, I think I've had bought a couple of packs here and there, and they show up super quickly. And I mean, it's also like just supporting the community on WhatNot as well. So I feel pretty fine with just paying a little bit extra for, you know, making sure that you guys also cover all your extra fees and all the equipment you need for it. So absolutely.
And time.
That's another thing too. The equipment. The only equipment you really need to have, like as far as like the technical equipment to stream on WhatNot, is just your phone. So for those of you that are ever wanting to think about also selling on WhatNot, all you need is a handheld device and maybe a phone stand, and you can stream on WhatNot. Granted, you do have to contact WhatNot if you want to sell, and you do have to get approved. You do have to have a set amount of product. They're going to ask you a bunch of questions as far as like, you know, how much sealed do you have? How many singles do you have, etc. So they're starting to be a little bit more strict about who they let in. But it's, as far as starting off, all you need is really your cell phone.
Cool. We need somebody to start in Canada. That's what Undead Akimbo is saying. I think that would be great.
Indeed. But Adam, so speaking of, you know, spending your time, is WhatNot a full-time occupation for you?
No. So there was a point in time in 2021 and 2022. I started in 2022, but talking to people that was in WhatNot even earlier, WhatNot really did look like it could be something that's a like a full-time gig, because of the, you know, the increase in interest in collectibles as a whole. Because of the COVID pandemic, things really spiked in popularity, not just in Magic, but, you know, Pokemon sports cards and other collectibles. There was a ton of buyers and a ton of sellers, and things have sort of kind of started to taper off a bit in popularity. Again, I would equate this as a side hustle that is that is probably what am I trying to say? It's just the demand isn't there as much as what it used to be. Now, I know Pokemon and sports cards are still really popular. So if you're interested in Pokemon or sports cards and you have a collection or you're interested in buying, those categories are still, again, pretty popular. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend selling on WhatNot, because I mean, Sophie, you've been in some of the streams. I mean, at least in Sorcery, at any point in time, we may have anywhere between like 5 to about 15 people in a Sorcery stream. And even some of the bigger Magic streams throughout the day, those are only seeing views of about 50 to 60 to 70 at any given time. So we need more eyes on WhatNot. But right now, I just think it's just something that's good to supplement your income.
Yeah, definitely. And I would imagine there's also the whole community aspect, that it's just, if you earn a little extra as a side hustle and you get to hang out with some of your favorite people in chat and open some cool packs here and there, I would imagine it feels pretty cool. But as I hear it, it sounds like it would be a struggle to make it work full time unless you really, if you're like a YouTube personality or something like that, that can draw in massive crowds, because I would imagine there does need to be quite a bit of sales to make it work, actually.
It's volume,
Yeah.
like if I had people that were continuously buying, throughout an entire 8-hour stream, Monday through Friday, then yeah, it's totally a viable option. But with trading cards these days, the margins for profitability are so low. I remember, like, just as an experiment, when Modern Horizons 3 came out, I tried buying a case of like play boosters, and then I got like one collector box, and I ripped everything to try to sell it on TCG Player. And I know these are different platforms, but the fees are generally the same. I basically lost money trying to do it. There's just no real way to do it. So the best way to go about it, is just I focus, like these days, I focus on like buying collections off Facebook Marketplace, or off of Facebook Marketplace, and from other members in the community to try to sell. But it's tough, working in collectibles, running an LGS. It's extremely hard, and volume is really the only way you're going to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a question from Chris here. Do you think like the 1 to 2 sets per year with Sorcery, how does that actually align with WhatNot? Are people getting tired of seeing beta? Do they just really want something else? Or how's that working out? What's the Sorcery crowd like on WhatNot?
So there's a few people that are really still buying a lot, just because they have such an intense love for the product. I am one of them. But I will admit that I still have everything. I have a full foil beta set. The only thing that I'm missing is the champion promo. But aside from that, I have everything else. And I think that's what's happening with a lot of people, is that they have everything that they could possibly want. So now it's like they're just kind of sitting there waiting. So as far as the number of sets per year, I think a lot of people were really excited when they heard that, we're going to, Sorcery's going to do 1 set per year, because, we don't want to overprint and we value the collectability, etc. And I think now people are starting to think, I'd like to see maybe a set every 9 months or a set every 6 months. And I don't know what the best direction is to go. I think the more cards that work with beta, like I mentioned earlier in Arthurian Legends, if there's more cards in Arthurian Legends that are able to work with alpha, I think that's just going to continue to have interest, because they're going to want to have everything. But it's tough to say. I think what keeps Magic going is that the fact that there's always product coming out every month, it seems like, and it keeps people coming back to always wanting to jump on the new thing, because it's crazy what people will pay for on WhatNot for stuff that's early, like even earlier than pre-release. Some of these sellers are able to get their hands on product extremely early, and it sells for quite a premium. It's just
Yeah, I
nuts.
could imagine. Also, I mean, when I'm seeing like on YouTube, there are always like stores opening stuff really, really early, and that makes it, for instance, when we buy one collector box of Bloomburrow, nobody's really going to watch it because people have been watching it for 2 weeks. Because if you are an LGS, you have the option to open early, and that makes it very difficult to do anything with regard to box opening, at least for us on YouTube.
Exactly. I totally agree. You know, it's like by the time pre-release comes around, it's almost old news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
It
like,
definitely is.
the product isn't even officially released yet, and people already have, like, you know, a lot of the cards that they wanted, because there's a lot of the sellers will also rip the product and then they'll sell the singles. So people will already have the singles before pre-release, and it's just like I don't know. I wish it wasn't so fast,
Yeah.
but it is.
Definitely. Yeah, also with Bloomburrow, you know, in Denmark, the scrolled away commander deck was almost sold out even before release. You know, already at the pre-release was like you couldn't get it anywhere, and if you could get it, the price had just spiked 2 times or close to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and also, you know, there's no, you know, what's the word? There's no reason to open stuff and film it because stuff has been opened, you know, long in advance. So yeah.
yeah,
It's
like
a
Bubba
bit of a
Moo
shame.
is saying here, too much product coming out, not enough time to fall in love with a set or block like the old days. That's totally true. You can't, you know, the only thing that people remember is the pre-release event, because people only
Yeah.
usually play one event and then they never play it again. So like in the case of MH3, people probably got a taste of Modern, but they're only going to do that one pre-release event, and then they're going to take all the cards that they got from the pre-release event. Maybe they'll buy a couple extra packs, and they're just going to go back to playing Commander.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely. That's
And
probably
also
also
commander
something.
decks
Yeah.
in a modern set. That's fun.
Yeah. That was definitely weird. So, Count Tolstoy is saying,
I have
"What's
an
your
answer.
opinion on Roots players? What's your
They
opinion?"
are the worst. They just want to see people suffer and cry. And that's the final voting on that.
Okay.
Roots players. It's, you know, I heard in Australia there was a bit of a problem because the meta was very Roots top heavy for a period of time. At least that's just what I've heard. You know, play the deck that's, you know, that's gonna, it gives you the best chances of winning, and one that you feel most comfortable with. If Roots players want to play Roots, then all credit to them.
Yeah. So there's like the other side of the coin here from Andy. He's saying that he hoped they don't release more product just for the sake of appeasing some crowd. I joined Sorcery because of the fact it's once a year release, and I do think that there are some pros to it as well. I've really been enjoying just collecting, but also playing a lot of beta and having that feeling that you had with like the old school Magic. You know almost every card, at least the ones that are like really playable, because you can just, oh no, that was the Roots that took me out the last time, or that darn Scarab, or whatever. And I also think there's something about having the joy of like anticipation again. With Magic, you're constantly bombarded with so many sets, so you never really go like, "Ooh, I'm so looking forward," because it's already there before you even get to play with the last set. So I do think that there are definitely some pros to it as well, but I also think that maybe with time, 9 months or 8 months between sets would be more realistic to make people engaged and stay engaged between sets.
I think a year might be a little bit of a stretch, especially with the 250 card set that's coming out. If we had another 400 card set, I think, you know, a year would be fine. And I remember watching an interview of Eric, and this was like 2 years ago. He mentioned that he was never sure of like what the set sizes would look like after this one. They could be
Yeah.
they could be higher, they could be lower. I think the 250 card set that they have together here is probably going to complement the current card pool very well based on the existing feedback. And then taking that feedback, I think they're probably putting in a couple new, like maybe small mechanics and making some minor tweaks and adjustments on how they can maybe make the game more fluid. Not that it already isn't. It's a lot of fun. But I think they're just being cautious, and that's never a bad thing.
Yeah, absolutely. People are encouraging us to talk about how good you are at playing. So what's the events been like? You've gotten to talk with people on chat, but presumably you've also gotten to meet some of them at these events. How's the vibe of the sorcery event?
The vibes are awesome because you're there surrounded by a bunch of people that really enjoy the game, and I've learned a lot from the community. I remember when I first started trying to play. It was this year. I think it was like in February January, February is when I really put a lot of time and effort into learning how to play the game. For those of you that are that hasn't played Sorcery yet and is thinking about it, I encourage you to download Tabletop Simulator, install the mod. You can typically find Tabletop Simulator. It's on sale for sometimes $10, other times it's $20. The mod is free. It takes a little bit of getting used to as far as how to navigate the game once you're in it. But I spent a lot of time learning from other players in the Sorcery Discord, and it's really because of them, which is why I'm as good of a player as I am today. Every game is a learning experience. I make a ton of mistakes. Sometimes I play way too fast and I make mistakes. Sometimes I overthink things and should just play what I know is best right in front of me. But I really owe it to a lot of the people that I've met along the way. Count Tolstoy, Moose, Brandon. There's a few of these guys here in chat that I've played against several times. Every game, every matchup, I'm always learning something new. Card interactions, less and less I'm having to consult the FAQ or the rules PDF because I've just learned so much. And I just love the depth of the game. There is it's such a simple yet complex game, and I just cannot wait to see what else is going to be included in the next set.
Indeed, it's actually fun. We talk with our kids. They play Magic. They're not that old, and they we're looking at the sorcery cards. We were like, we can teach you if you want to play sorcery. And actually, I think that it's easier to learn once you get a feeling of the grid and know how to position your sides. I think it's much more simple somehow because there's not that much text on the cards, and a lot of the cards you just know offhand what they do. Whereas a lot of modern Magic cards have a lot of text, a lot of new abilities all the time. With each set comes a new sort of mechanic that you need to somehow learn or get a hold on.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like there's I think it's more easily teachable in some ways, but I also think the skill level, and especially if you're used to playing Magic, I think it's hard to get a hang of, especially site placement, making sure that you're really optimizing your sites, that you're using them in the right way, both in terms of placement, but also the timing of sites, when to play a site. But I think that's also part of the fun for me, at least. That's exploring the entire element of the grid, which I'm having a lot of fun. We've been playing a lot of sorcery recently. There's a shout out from Michael, who you played against at the final draft at Courtesan Cup as well.
Yes, I recognize that face. I think I ended up dying to a Sacred Scarabs.
Oh.
Hello, Sorcery Realm Italia. Ciao. And we are asking, is Broseph the new avatar? Maybe.
You'll have to find out. Maybe it'll be revealed at Gen Con, or maybe it'll be revealed on release. But speaking of new avatars, I'm really excited about this draft kit that we have. It's funny because I literally just finished building a cube, and now I have to fix it a bit because now I can't use all those other ordinary sites, or maybe I still can, because with the cube, you can kind of play it the way that you want to play it. So, with as much product I've opened up, I have everything. So I could just use the ordinary lands as we've opened in the packs, or I can use the stuff from the draft kit once I'm able to get my hands on it.
Yeah, for sure. I think we have a video coming up. We just need to find some time to actually film it, but we've scripted it about this new draft kit. I think there are a lot of advantages to actually making the pack content feel cooler because drafting an ordinary site right now is going to be so much cooler than it used to be when you were just giving them. And I also think the new spell sling, I think it's going to force some people to make different choices because the sorcerer is actually a fairly strong avatar and it just gives you a lot of card advantage.
Yeah, and yes, sorcerer is a lot of people play it close to the ground, a lot of like 2, 3, 4 power cards. It's another thing that I like about sorcery is how the meta changes, because when I first started playing out, the Fury Road deck was like the most popular sorcery or sorcerer build, and now there's been some stuff that I've played against that there's some 5, 6, 7 cost cards, like you can continue to slow. Like sorcerer is such a versatile avatar that it's not just a minion, or it's not just an avatar that you could play, that you have to play close to the ground. You can really scale and build up with it and play a lot of powerful cards towards the end game, as long as you're not falling behind.
Yeah, right.
I know.
I've been taking some wins with Fury Road.
Some scalps.
So yes, definitely. But we also need to get some more questions on the sorcery on WhatNot.
I think we had a question actually.
Yes, I'm just going to lead in with this one.
All right.
Why did you decide to actually sell sorcery on WhatNot? Because to me, it seems like a bit of a gamble compared to some of the bigger TCGs that are already established. They have a bigger audience. So what made you think, okay, I'm going to try and sell this on WhatNot?
Well, for me, it was a little easier to get hands-on product, at least initially, with Team Covenant. And since there was such a popularity and demand, honestly, the margins I was making on the boxes felt much better than the margins I was making on selling magic cards. So that's one big reason. But it really comes down to how much I've loved the game and how much I want to see it grow. The cards are just just I love seeing new people come into my stream and they see these cards and they've never seen them before, and they look at them and they think back to the old days of Magic. I wish we could get vintage Magic players into this game, because I think they're like the perfect category of players to come into this. But yeah, that's the best way I can answer it.
Yeah, for sure. And I also think it's always good to do something that you're passionate about. That was also why we started to discuss sorcery and make videos on sorcery, because we just really wanted to share that passion for the game. So I think this is a great question from JCQ. How is WhatNot helping spreading sorcery players or keeping the hype going?
Well, directly from WhatNot, they're not really doing a whole lot. It's mostly it's a grassroots effort. It's us that have our boots on the ground, and we're there mostly every day, talking about this game and sharing information about the cards. As a seller, for me, like, I'm not the most charismatic person in the world. I don't have like a super bubbly personality like some of these other content creators have. But one thing that I like to do when a new player comes into my stream and buys packs, or it's somebody who's been playing for a very long time, or even is a collector, I like to talk about certain cards that come out of the pack. So, like, when somebody hits a foil land surveyor, I think that's an exciting hit. And for some people, it's not, because it's like, oh, well, it's only like a $10 or $15 card. But what's awesome about land surveyor is that, like, it's just an amazing card to have in a lot of decks. I talk of, I like to get into the details about the cards that are coming out of the pack and not always worry about the financial value, because for a lot of people, I think they want to come in here and they want to hit it big. They want to hit the foil cores, the foil mixes, the foil pea stone, right? Because these cards are so expensive. But I like to kind of show an appreciation for a lot of the cards and explain to people why certain cards are good. Why is a Nimbus Djinn one of the deadliest minions in the game if it's right on top of you? Like, why is Pudge Butcher so iconic? I like to be able to walk people through that and explain to them that detail about the cards.
Yeah, definitely. So has your experience with sorcery on WhatNot right now, has it been that the people are getting more and more excited, you're getting more and more new people, or do you feel like there's a bit of a lull as well also on WhatNot because we're between sets and people are pretty much done with beta?
There's a bit of a lull. I think we have, there's some buyers that are still in there, and they're very loyal to the game, and they're big collectors / speculators, and they just want to they do it because they love the game. But I think until Arthurian Legends comes out, we're not going to see a bunch of new people come in. So I'm hoping. I just saw today in the Sorcery Discord that they're coming out with a trailer, which I'm super excited
Yeah.
to watch. I unfortunately I won't be attending Gen Con, but I can't wait. I love trailers, and I like the one that they did for even the beta set. I can't wait to see what they have in store, because we need some more hype to be generated. One of the things that WhatNot lacks, and it's not its own fault, it's just a reality. We've seen some new card games come into the sphere recently. We've seen Lorcana, we've seen Star Wars, and we've seen One Piece. And the thing that these 3 trading card games has backing them is the IP.
Yeah.
There's already a huge fan base for Star Wars. There's already a huge fan base for Disney. It's gonna take a lot of people to really spread the word, going to your LGS, showing people how to play sorcery. It's a very grassroots effort. The best way to grow sorcery is go to your LGS and find people to play with. And that's what I do every Wednesday, and some Saturdays, and even some Fridays. I go to the LGS. I sit down with my small group that I typically go with, but anybody that's like ever looking over my shoulder, and they're like, what is that? I explained to them, hey, this is sorcery. We'd love to have you be a part of our play group. I always bring a ton of those, the beta box toppers. I have a million of them. So I always keep them in my bag. And anytime somebody just comes over and they have like an interest in the game, I just give them a beta box topper. I say, here, take this. This is sorcery. We play on Wednesdays and Saturdays. We'd love to have you come out and sit down, teach you how to play, and grow the game. And there have been players that have come back and sat with us. So
yeah, but I think you're absolutely right. I think the effort, because we haven't seen a lot of marketing since the Kickstarter, but I do think that the message you were speaking about, they are talking about ramping up some marketing, getting out the trailer. I presume we're going to be seeing some more spoilers probably at Gen Con, hopefully also after. So I do think they're going to try and generate a massive interest before Arthurian Legends hit, but I do think they're trying to get just past Gen Con, because all the resources are tied up at Gen Con, because the team in sorcery still is so small. I also just want to mention that Alex, who I believe is also on WhatNot, if I'm not mistaken, is just mentioning that there are like 3 big events coming up for sorcery. So if you want to check it out in person, there's Gen Con. I believe that's like sold out maybe. There's also Spiel if you're in Europe. And then there is SorceryCon in Las Vegas. That's going to be from the 1st to the 3rd of November. And I believe today, correct me in chat if I'm wrong, is the last day to get those early bird tickets.
Yes.
So the Sorcery TCG con maybe .com should be like the official address. So if you're interested in playing in person, I think there's Learn to Play events, loads of artists coming. Do check it out if you're in the US, and Spiel in Germany if you are in Europe, just to make sure that people go and check out these events.
Indeed, and Spiel is also, a huge convention.
Yes, it's the
biggest board game TCG in the world.
Absolutely.
So hopefully Sorcery is also going to, get some contacts, talk to distribution, maybe, form some bonds that could help them distribute sorcery maybe a little more all over the world.
Yeah, and definitely get more on the radar in general for Europe. I think the European community is really interested, but there just hasn't been the product to sustain that interest. We have another question from the chat here. or at least a comment. WhatNot has definitely allowed for growth with folks within that chat community, realizing how close they live to each other and working from there to build. I think
good
that's
point.
really cool, both meeting up in person, but also getting a play group going on TTS if you're
Yeah.
not close to anyone. And there's also the Sorcery League, and I do believe you've been entered into the Sorcery League, the
Yes.
online TTS.
Yep.
Can you
I'm
just talk a
in,
bit
I
about
believe
that?
this is season 5. I just completed my 8 matches. I went 6-2, so hopefully that's enough to make top cut.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So where do people join up if they feel like they might want to try their hand with TTS and the league?
Oh, so I can send an invite to the official league Discord. You guys can join that, and there's instructions on how to sign up. I believe the cutoff for that date might actually be today, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
So next
There's
season.
the Sorcery
season,
Discord. Yeah,
or be
yeah.
quick.
Ira is the one who runs it, so I think it's today, but we're halfway through the season. So if you're interested in the league, sign up. And don't worry about it if you can't sign up. If you're not experienced with playing sorcery, the league may not be the best route to go, but you can still join. What I would advise is join the main sorcery Discord. There's a text channel called Looking for Group. Just post something in there. Say that you're a new player. Say that you're looking for somebody who's patient, that could teach them how to play. And usually there's a community member that can help you out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people are super. That's also the cool thing about the community. People are generally super engaged in the game and therefore really willing to help out if they can, especially if a new player is trying to get into the game and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I think that's really nice.
Indeed. So should we talk a little about the future of sorcery? Because right now the future is Arthurian Legends. So how do you feel about the upcoming sets of Arthurian Legends?
Oh, I'll show you how I feel about it.
Ooh, interesting.
I ended up getting this in Baltimore. This is there's a little bit of a glare, but this is Camelot. This was done by Jeff Menges. I saw this card when it was I saw this art when it was unveiled in Baltimore, and I just thought it was fantastic. Cool. I'm super excited. I love the flavor of this upcoming set. I do wish the card pool was maybe just a tiny bit bigger, but I'm hoping that with all the feedback that the team has gotten from beta, there's going to be a lot of synergy between cards from Arthurian Legends and with beta. So with that said, I'm just really looking forward to all the different combinations, because I'm still looking for things even in the existing card pool. Like, I don't know how many times throughout the day I'll just be kind of like daydreaming and thinking about all the way. I'll be deck building. I'm deck building in my head. Like I'll just be standing in the shower and I'm thinking, how can I make this work? And it's just that's what I love so much about sorcery. It's just those first few days that I started playing, I was just so fixated on, and I still get fixated on things. Like I'll come out of a match and I'll see something new and I'm like, that's an interesting concept. What if I do this and maybe put this with there? And it's just, yeah.
That's also the hallmarks of a great game, that you're constantly just finding new mechanics and building in your head and trying to make fun stuff work. So how do you feel about the cards from Arthurian Legends spoiled so far?
They're good. I do like the fact that we're going to have sites that we could play on the back sites that provide 3 element threshold. I know doing 3 element colored decks aside from having your elementalist as the avatar has been kind of tough. Hopefully we can see more multicolored decks by utilizing those unique sites. Going back to Camelot, the thing that I like about Camelot, when it was first revealed, I remember a lot of us were thinking about how can we break Camelot. So like what we came up with, if I remember correctly, Camelot allows you to play a unique minion nearby for 1 less. And we were thinking like using cards like Donnybrook Inn, like plus Camelot, plus Mirror Realm, right? So potentially you could play a unique minion for 3 less of its cost. Yeah. So imagine like getting a Lord of the Void out for the cost of like 3 mana if you throw like a mix on top of that, just stuff like that, you know, like how can we put big minions onto the field really fast?
Yeah, and someone in chat here is saying triumphs already. Yep. If
Yeah.
you're not on our Discord server, we have a link down below. And until we get like the full spoilers, I have put every Arthurian Legends card that has been revealed so far into a folder or a channel on the Discord server so people can check them out because they are a bit difficult to get together right now.
Indeed, and Tentagial is a unique site, and it's the only one we've seen so far, but of course I'm hoping to see more triumphs. But
there's the love potion too, isn't there? Isn't that also another unique spell? Oh, it's unique. It's not a unique. It's a site, but it's not a site. It's a spell. But I think that was the other unique card that was unveiled, along with mesmerism.
Yeah,
mesmerism. I forgot about that one.
But it's having a 4 water threshold. That's
you know.
tough.
So speaking of water threshold, a deck that I've been playing a lot right now is the Elementalist, and I've been utilizing the Island Leviathans. And for the Island Leviathan to spawn, you got to have 8 water threshold. And it's been a fantastic deck to play because it is the deck that I use to go 6-2 in the Sorcery League, and being able to be fortunate enough to have like an Aquamarine core in your hand, have the Island Leviathan out. Your Elementalist is already giving 1 to the water threshold, so it happens faster than you think to get the Island Leviathan online, because all of a sudden it becomes this 8-powered creature that you didn't have to spend any mana on, and then you summon it, and then you grapple shot the Island Leviathan into the avatar, and then you swing, and you're doing like 16 damage in 1 turn. In some instances, you can even door them in the same turn. It's been really effective. I've been loving it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw that in one of the comments speaking about roots, and somebody was like, "How do you feel about Island Leviathan?"
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just for the general information, there are 8 cards out right now, and I think they're all looking pretty cool. And I think one thing that we really picked up on was the fact that it's not only just the knights. It seems like they really want to make a set that's also about the mythology and the lore and everything. So, you're discreetly hitting up the corporate guide page, and
also we do mugs.
We're hopeless at advertising that, but yeah, we do have some Patreon memberships if anyone is interested. But right now, if you just hit the like button, we will also be very excited. But I think the interesting thing is that we're seeing a lot of different creatures. I don't know, the Keening Banshee and the Koi Nixie, that really took me a bit by surprise. I hadn't expected that, but I really think it looks cool. And I do hope that we're getting like a full range of potions. So Love Potion is hopefully just the first one. I would love to see like a Life Potion or like a Hate Potion. I think that would be really cool.
I just really want to do something with the Keening Banshee, Werewolf, Miracle Worker, kill some mortals, maybe some zombies. I must make that work somehow.
Yeah. We have a question. Where did you rank on the Courtesan Cup? And followed right up by he ranked number 1 in my heart.
So for the Courtesan Cup, I think overall I ranked like 22nd, 23rd, 24th. Again, I don't have an official. I know going into it, I think I was in the top like 16 or 17. But being that I went 1 and 2 in the draft, I ended up falling short. I was really confident too at the draft. I really felt like my deck was going to pop off because I ended up drafting King of the Realm, and the first opponent that I went up against was playing a lot of mortals, and then I threw down a King of the Realm, and it was just kind of lights out from there. But I just wasn't fast enough in my 2 other matches that I wasn't able to make the top 4. But I was close. It was fun.
Yeah, and again, getting to day 2 is pretty epic. Where I think a lot of like the really hardcore sorcery players attended the cup, so I think that's pretty good.
Experience shows.
Yes, exactly. So we ask this a lot when we do these interviews on the channel, but if you have like the free reins to say, hey Eric, I want this theme for the next coming sorcery set, what theme would you want him to make a sorcery set around?
So I think this one has been said before, but I like this theme, and it would be like kind of an angels and demons type set.
Mm,
With Eric's background in Path of Exile, I'm a big fan of Diablo.
Mm.
So
yes,
if they
exactly.
were specifically Diablo 2, all right,
Yes, 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 exactly.
Diablo 3 was fun and Diablo 4 was fun, but my heart will always be with
Mm.
Diablo 2.
Exactly.
Enhanced
If
edition.
yeah.
Remastered.
So if they could maybe make a set around that, type of, I'm not saying Diablo's universe, but something that's kind of inspired by it, that would be really cool. I like Count Tolstoy's comment, Norse mythology set with gods. That would be cool too. Maybe something that's like kind of like a ancient Aztec witch doctory theme, like set in that's set in the rainforest. I don't know. And it maybe like an Egyptian set back in ancient times. I don't know. I think there's a lot of different directions they could go. But I think for me, it would be like kind of like an Angels and Demons set, kind of like in a world similar to Diablo.
Yeah,
I would love that too.
Yeah, definitely.
We've seen the big dragons. Now let us see the big demons.
Yes, but
Yeah.
also like some archangels and some relics, some sites. I think there would be a lot to work around with that set. I think it would be so cool.
Ranged Amazon warriors.
Oh, ranged, yeah. But Amazon warriors in a like an Angels and Demons set.
Yes, we already have one. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Amazon was
Yeah,
my
I need-
favorite character in Diablo 2. So
I want to play my Syrian Templars.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think that would be epic. So Howlin' Ho is saying, what has been your best box rip on WhatNot? What were some of the hits, and was it alpha or beta?
It's interesting that Howlin would ask this question, only because Howlin probably has the most disgusting box I've ever seen opened on WhatNot. So we're gonna focus our attention on Howlin, because Howlin has had the best box ever ripped open on WhatNot. And Howlin had opened up a box that contained 3 unique foil cores.
What?
Yeah, there was the Onyx core, the Amethyst core, and the Aquamarine core. There was also 3 other unique foils in it. So out of the 9 foils, there was 6 unique foils in that box. And then the next box he opened up after that had a foil Peastone in it.
Okay, wow.
But for me personally, I have opened curios on the channel. I opened up a box for myself. I ended up pulling a Syrian Templar curio for me, and then for another person that is, I think, still in chat, Mr. Rabbit. I pulled him a Guile Sirens curio. Haven't seen any of the sketches. Yeah, my boxes, when I was opening wave 1, it was a lot easier to get unique foils. So I may have opened up boxes that had 2 or 3 unique foils, but these summer boxes I have pretty consistently only have 1 unique foil in it. I have opened boxes that have had 2, but and as far as foil Philosopher's Stone goes, I did open up a box, but that was for myself personally. So nothing like I would love to be able to pull a foil stone for a buyer on stream. I think it would generate a ton of hype, but that's the best that I've done. So
yeah. So what would you like to see happen?
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What would you like to see happen in the future for sorcery on WhatNot? What would like be the ideal going on from now?
So they need to get WhatNot needs to recognize sorcery as its own TCG, and I know because there's categories in the trading card category that excuse me, there's games in the trading card category that are no longer games. Like I think one of them is called Akora, Akora.
That's done.
Yeah, so they still have that listed. I think there's games that just hardly have any interest that they could probably remove to put, fit sorcery in. But, WhatNot's been sort of difficult to get the attention of. I'm curious as to how they track the growth of games, or because maybe sorcery is still technically in the Kickstarter phase because there's only alpha and beta. There's not an official expansion set. I don't know. And kind of going back to what I was talking about earlier with Lorcana, Star Wars, and One Piece, when those TCGs came out, WhatNot was pretty quick at making those their own category. So I think it's just trying to get them to recognize that this is a game that has a lot of hype, a lot of interest, and just, and letting them know we want our own category. So I think that's the biggest thing that they can do right now. So when you have people that are, scrolling through all the different categories, all the games in the trading card games category, they can see sorcery and be like, oh, what's that? And then they can click on it, and then they can see streams that are currently live, or they can pop into or bookmark other streams that are, going to be coming up in the next few hours or days, weeks, whatever.
Indeed. Get it on the radar. There's also a comment here that sorcery needs to be recognized more in general. And it's a fun sort of predicament right now, because everyone here, for us, sorcery is of course a big game. But we also talked with Chase at one point and did an interview with him. And he said, you need to be aware that, out in the big world, at distribution and stuff like that, sorcery really isn't a big game. It's a really small game.
Yeah.
It's hardly a blip on the radar for many of those distributions. So really raising awareness is critical and key. And then to the best box we have opened. I think it might have been, we opened some alpha and we couldn't get better because it was delayed in Europe. And a great friend of our channel and of us, TG.
Yeah, it was also at the Courtesan Cup.
Indeed, he had his own, posse.
Yeah, he had the
with
gang.
matching T-shirts and everything. But yeah, TG was kind enough to sell us a box, and he shipped it from the United States to Europe. And I think that is the best box we've ever opened. I think it had 2 foil cores.
Yeah.
And was there also a non-foil core?
Yeah.
I think it contained 3 cores in total. It was an absolutely amazing box.
Yeah, and it had a lot of great playables, some other cool, unique cards. In general, it was a really fun box, and it is here on the channel if people want to check it out.
I'll tell you what, those Wave 1 boxes were something different when when we started getting them. With all the unique foils that you could pull out of them, they were unreal.
Yeah, definitely. We have Count Tolstoy here saying, what do you think of the sorcery team's hands-off approach? They do support and facilitate big events, but you think an official ranking system should be in, or can be in, the future?
I think that is something that will come with time. I think because the team is still, pretty fresh and new and small, that they really want to focus on the development of the game. And I think that's what needs to come first. I know that there's a competitive scene that is still growing. But I think right now their main focus is getting this game into the hands of as many players as possible and just focus on growing. But I would, as a competitive player, Count, me, I would love to see an official ranking system, but I don't think we're quite there yet. Arthurian Legends hopefully is going to be the set that's going to, at least I would hope double the size of this community at the very least. And maybe moving into the 3rd or 4th set, 2025, 2026, can we start to see something like that where there's personnel that actually, maybe there's an official, there's official judges and stuff like that are part of the sorcery team or endorsed by the sorcery team. But for right now, everything that Ron put on at the Courtesan Cup was just, done very well. And now you have Alex, and I forget the other gentleman's name, focused on Sorcery Con, I know they did a great job. I didn't go to the one in Seattle, but I heard great things. It's just the fact that we have such a good grassroots effort at putting on these events means I'm sure it means so much to the core sorcery team, and I think that's why they get a lot of help from them, because of the work that we do as a community to help spread the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think sorcery. There was Drew did the March of the Mortals by himself, but now him, Alex, and David are working together for SorceryCon Las Vegas coming up in November, and it looks like it's going to be an epic event. And we organized a tournament here in Europe, and it was really great. We had Ask and Rask in Germany,
together with Jürgen.
Yeah, together
from
with Jürgen
from and Heiner from White Rabbit.
Exactly, and the team were really super supportive. The sorcery team definitely wanted to help out as much as they could, because there's definitely some heavy lifting going on with these big events. It does take a lot of time and planning, so it's great that they're super supportive, getting information out there and also some prize support. So that has been really great to see.
Yeah, I thought you guys did a great job with the stream, the quality of the streaming that was done during the matches and in between the matches. It was very well done at the White Rabbit store.
Yeah, that's all Heine's credit. His store does an amazing job. They've done several other big TCGs events, so they really have the streaming part down. And as a part of just like organizing, it was a great experience. People were super chilled and just super happy to be playing cardboard in person with other people. So that was really nice. I'm just going to pick up the comment here from Alex in chat. There are more and more us reaching out to our local community and donating bulk and other items to keep the community growth also. And that seems to be a general picture. You having all the beta box toppers in your bag and other people donating bulk and stuff like that. That is really like part of that grassroots movement that's going to help along, grow communities, which I'm just going to do a small plug for ourselves. On Thursday, we will be opening up a beta box for someone else. So just hoping to pull something cool for them. But we will be donating a lot of our bulk in the form of pauper decks. So if you're interested in getting pauper decks, we will be shipping them free of cost to people. So do come and check out the live stream on Thursday.
And speaking of pauper decks,
yeah,
Josh from the Sorcery Gamblers Club just did a video actually that he called Porcery, because it was decks made up of ordinaries and exceptionals, and they held a tournament at their local LGS, and that looked really fun. And there is a video of the final between the two, finalists battling it out between each other. And I think that if Josh has the deck list, we're going to make those two decks to give away.
Definitely.
That'd be cool to see.
Yeah, I would, and also just to be able to check out the video and see how people are piloting the decks.
Also because it was two people actually that had only been playing sorcery for a month that ended up in the finals, so that was kind of cool.
Absolutely. So I'm thinking, Adam, could we possibly get a link for WhatNot to put in the description afterwards? Because some people were asking to maybe like, if that's possible, to just like have something to click on if people don't know the platform at all.
Yep, I can do that right now.
And that leads us to the next question.
Yes, I have purchased. I think I purchased 3, maybe 4 times just to like get an idea of the experience. I always like to sort of like check something out before recommending it. I don't want to recommend anything new that I haven't tried myself. Because we do have a little platform. It's not a big one, but we do have a little platform here on YouTube, and I want to be sure that something is actually working and trustworthy before recommending it. But I bought a couple of packs from different people, also some people in the chat, in fact, and it works really smoothly. The only issue is that the tax and the VAT for getting it into Europe is very high, so your price per pack ends up costing a lot. And the shipping, handling fees, not a good thing. And the shipping alone, I think, is about $21. So it's in general, it's really expensive to do from Europe. but I've had zero problems getting the packs. And yeah, it's been a great experience from the pure shopping side. The VAT and the taxes, that's on Europe,
Indeed.
not on the streamers.
Not on WhatNot, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though I think at one point we bought a few packs and the seller ended up sending the packs as separate packages.
Yeah, that was not great.
Oh, that was a poor experience with the handling fee.
Yeah.
Because we got hit by 3 or 4 handling fees.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, we have bought packets from WhatNot. And yeah, it's been a great experience. So if you're in the US, I can only recommend checking it out and getting some packs. It's also a nice way to just check out and see, is this a game for me? And you get to ask some questions in stream. I noticed that you're really good at answering questions about the game when you're in stream. So, I mean, I think it's a nice service-based way to buy some packs.
So for a small fee, you can pick Adam's brain and get all the new tactics.
Yeah, I love talking about tactics because I think talking about card interactions is awesome. I mean, again, I think there's a lot of people that come onto the stream that are just collectors, and they've never played a single round of sorcery, but they have twice, if not 3 times, as many cards as I do. Believe it or not, and I like to talk to them like, why is Grapple Shot like such a great iconic card? Like, why is Grandmaster Wizard such a good card? Why is like I like Major Explosion. I played that a lot in my Death Speaker deck when I was first starting out. So I like to give people a little bit of understanding about why this card is so good, and just talking about that, is fun because I think collectors should also, they don't have to play the game. Maybe they're busy with their life and they don't have a lot of time, but I would like for them to at least understand why, whenever they're opening up new cards, why is this card a good card? So that, when you understand sorcery as much as I do at this current level, when I open up Arthurian Legends, there's so much knowledge that I have that when I'm looking at certain cards, there's going to be so many things running through my mind. Like when I open a pack, I'm going to be looking at each card individually, reading the card, in its entirety, and just kind of enjoying that experience of opening this new product versus somebody who's just kind of quickly going through the pack trying to find the foil or the unique. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also if you're a collector, I think knowing the game and understanding why certain game pieces are more valuable than others makes a huge difference. And also makes a big difference in determining future value if you're opening a new set where there's not really an established price range yet. You might miss some really great cards that are valuable because you don't know how the game actually works. So, yeah.
Right.
Alan Ross is saying, how many boxes or cases of Arthurian Legends have you pre-ordered so far?
3, but there's going to be more coming, much more. I will be ready for WhatNot day 1 when boxes get released. So keep an eye out. By the way, the link that I posted in the chat, that is a referral link. When you make your first purchase, a $15 credit will automatically be applied to your first purchase. So
awesome.
For somebody that's new to WhatNot and, wants a free $15, that's a good way to sign up when they make their first purchase.
Cool.
And get all the new card tactics.
Yes. Additional card advice. What's the obsession with Gnome Hollows, man?
I know. I just want to say fuck you to Battle Mage.
So it's funny. It's funny you say that because I do have an obsession with Gnome Hollows. There's a picture I think Matthias Frisk might have posted on his Instagram of me in Baltimore. I own, I want to say 56 foil Gnome Hollows, a combination of alpha and beta. I think the card is really good. It's one of my favorite exceptional sites next to Free City. Because I've been playing Control so much, it's been a lot of fun. And I was playing Battle Mage a lot too, and a Battle Mage's worst nightmare is getting stuck in front of a Gnome Hollows.
Yeah, Yeah, and I think Matthias's art on that card is absolutely spectacular. I also just
Yes.
saw on Matthias's social. He just did a lot of artist proofs for Gnome Hollows, and some of them are epic.
And I just
He
saw a
actually
video
just sold
today.
he sold the original painting recently as well.
Yes, he did, and it went for a pretty penny, as far as I
Yeah,
can see.
it
And I
was
saw
a
a
lot.
video that I think Count Tolstoy is also a regular Battle Mage player.
He is.
So that was not a good thing. Poor dude is offended now.
Well, he knows how to get around that because he's one of the smartest Battle Mage players that I know that plays the game. And in order to get around Gnome Hollows is that you have to shrink yourself. So he shrinks
Oh,
himself to get inside of the site. It's the only way you can
well,
do it.
pro tip.
That's fantastic.
Dude, Adam, you just messed up my whole Gnome Hollows and protection against his Battle Mage.
Well, it's you know, in order to shrink yourself, you have to shrink and then tap to move. So you're going to be sitting. He's going to be sitting there for a whole turn with 0 power. So it puts him offline at least for 1 turn.
Oh, that's a good place to strike.
Indeed. All
Yeah.
right.
So, chat, do we have any last minute comments here or any questions? Because then we would love to pick them up. Otherwise, I'm just going to ask you to please hit the like button. And if you enjoy the interviews or the general sorcery content we make, please do support by subscribing. We're really chasing 2,800 subscribers right now, and I think we're about 3 subscribers away, and that would be really cool to hit that. That would really make our day here. We're getting the shrink and flaming sword at the same time. That looks like that might do the trick, yes. But we're just
What
gonna.
about, true sight crossbow? Could you do a ranged attack from outside Gnome Hollows and shoot in?
You could, but with when you're shooting range, though, you have to have a target. Fortunately, you can't like hit the site that's adjacent to you. But I know Count doesn't really like to play crossbow. He's more of a flaming sword guy. Because the thing is too is once you're shrunk and you're inside of the Gnome Hollows, your next turn when you go back to 3 power, it's fine that you're in there. You're just you can move out of it. You just can't move back into it. So you can just sit there and attack the site if you please.
That's gonna be an old cat and mouse.
Yeah. There's a challenge for sure with offering so many TCGs, folks. Part of community in chat like Broseph is amazing. Both cheering on folks, he and others provide insight into the gameplay for sure. I also think that I was kind of surprised, to be honest, to find out that there was a lot more community aspect to WhatNot than what I initially had anticipated. Because especially as a European, I wasn't really familiar with it. And coming into it, I was like, okay, this seems like just cracking a lot of packs and buying stuff, but there's definitely a whole community on there and helping each other out and talking about sorcery and spreading the word about sorcery. So I found that to be like a really positive quality.
On the surface, that's what it might appear. And for a lot of communities, that might be what it is. But for us, we have a tight knit group of buyers and sellers, and we enjoy the content. We love ripping packs, like a few of these guys have said. We are degens, and anyone is more than welcome to come by, visit our streams. You don't have to buy anything. Just hang out, and maybe you get to see some boxes ripped and enjoy the experience with us.
Awesome. So where should people go to find you so they can go hang out in your chat or what else you've got going on?
Right. Well, of course, you could find me at whatnot.com, but my username on there is Broseph CCG. I don't have any current shows that are coming up right yet. I'm in the process of getting more boxes sent to me, so that's going to take a few more days. But again, Broseph CCG, whatnot.com. You'll find me in the Kickstarter category or sometimes in the Magic.
Awesome. Epic.
Cool.
Broseph, we have to say huge thank you to you. It has been absolutely amazing to get to talk about WhatNot, and hopefully people have a better understanding of the community on WhatNot, but also about what you are doing for sorcery on there. So I think that's really cool to see. So thank you so much for coming, and thank you to everybody watching. We really appreciate it, and we will catch you in the next video.
Thank you for
Bye,
having me.
guys.